My wife and I have this intention that at least once a week, and every week, we sit down, we grab some tea or coffee, pull out our notebooks and pens, we open our pages, and we talk. It's not about chores or the checklists, although both of those items are covered in the discussion that ensues. It's really about us. This ritual has become an important and quiet anchor in our weeks. We call it the marriage meeting. Hello friends, welcome back to Stationery at 4. I make videos about analog lifestyle, slow living with stationary items mixed in. And today I want to share with you one of the most grounding and nourishing practices my partner and I brought into our relationship, into our lives. We started doing marriage meetings because, like most couples, we found ourselves caught up in our own routines, our own obligations, our own burdens of the week, both professionally as well as within the family. And if you have kids like we do, then you know that's only exacerbated even more. And we started missing out on each other. Started to feel like we were roommates going through a whole bunch of things together, but not actually together. We were side by side, witnessing each other, perhaps going through these things, but not really connecting about them. The marriage meeting is our way of slowing down, tuning in, and reminding each other we're on the same team, and we're trying to build our lives together. You're going to hear me say that word a lot throughout this video. Together, togetherness. These marriage meetings are not about fixing things. It's about cultivating that presence of being together, that reminder of checking in with each other, pen and paper in hand. The structure of our marriage meetings is something that my wife and I cultivated over time. And I should preface this right now. We set the intention to do this on a weekly basis. And I have to be honest, sometimes it's a couple weeks, sometimes it's 4 weeks, sometimes it's a month or two. But the point is setting that intention and coming back to it. And when we do it, it is such a reminder of the beauty of this ritual. And like anything in life, you set an intention, you create a routine out of it, and things can go sideways on you. So it's really important to come back to these intentions that we set, these habits that we're trying to build, and keep cultivating it, keep fostering it, keep nourishing that practice so that it becomes something that is very second nature. And this is something that my wife, my partner, and I are always striving to do. Now, the marriage meeting agenda is something that she and I have cultivated together over time, and it really was the experiment of trying out different structures, different topics to cover. But I think we both have settled on something that's really key in terms of how we can focus and move forward in each of these meetings. Every meeting starts with our manifesto. Do you want to read the manifesto or should I?
I can read it.
Oh.
We are on the same team, aligned on how we approach each other and our family, have each other's backs, and are working towards building our lives together.
It's short, but powerful. It sets the tone. We're not here to debate. We're not here to argue. We're here to collaborate. Now, one of the things that we noticed when we started doing these marriage meetings is that the meetings were running really long and they were going into all sorts of different directions. I'm not trying to take the romance out of connecting in this way by introducing meeting structure, but we found it was really important to lay out some rules of engagement.
Okay, a reminder for the rules of engagement. Limit number of talking points, timer of 3 minutes per topic. Use I statements as opposed to you. Always end with affection. 2 things are true.
Remind ourselves 2 things can be true. What they're saying and what they're doing can be in direct opposition. 2 things can be true. Something that we borrowed from Dr. Becky from Good Inside. If you're a parent, I highly recommend you checking her book out.
Seek understanding, not convincing.
We seek understanding, not convincing. We try to understand each other. We don't approach each other with overbearance. And the most important part, we always end with affection. Now, when we first started doing these meetings, we found that sometimes there was pent up things to talk about, and it wasn't brought up in the most skillful way. The you statements turned into an all-out attack, and that's not the intention of these meetings. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, but we don't want to do it out of a place of aggression. We don't want to do it out of a place of attack, because there is no respect in that. There's no way to move forward with that. And so it was really important to employ these rules of engagement. The timer on the talking points might seem pretty funny. And again, I'm not trying to take the romance out of all of this, but it provides structure. We found because our weeks are so busy and filled with things, and perhaps we were doing this side by side but not quite together, we could easily talk about a certain topic for more than 3 minutes, for perhaps even 20, 30 minutes easily, and we'd lose focus. We wouldn't be able to get through the rest of the agenda in the marriage meeting. So limiting the talking points with the timer is actually freeing more than anything else. It allows each of us to figure out what we want to hone in on, what we want to say to each other, and try and do it in a fashion that gets the point across. Gives the opportunity also for the other person to respond. We found sometimes that one person would do all the talking and the other person wouldn't be able to respond, wouldn't be able to get their own words in. And that turned into a bit more of a soliloquy than an actual joint meeting. So our agenda. We start with appreciations. This is kind of neat because the more we do these marriage meetings, the more we start thinking about the appreciations throughout the week. We start paying attention to each other's beautiful aspects, not the faults. It's easy to hone in on your partner's faults, all the things that drive you nuts about them. It's easy to hone in on your own faults as well. But like gratitude journaling or keeping gratitude in mind, the appreciations are so powerful because it forces you to look at all the things that they're doing amazing or good or contributing. And it doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be grand. It's the small things that we find that are actually brought up whenever we bring up appreciations for each other. It's the way you looked at me. It's the way that you covered me with a blanket that one night. It's all the little things. And they are so wonderful because they're a beautiful reminder of the partnership that we have embarked upon. It's also a great way to start the meeting. You start it with feelings of love, kindness, and it opens up the heart for perhaps the more productive aspects of the agenda. The next section is about us, the us check-in. How did we do together this week? Did we actually connect? Did we argue the entire time? Were we snippy with each other? Were there things going on for each of us that weren't quite clear to the other partner? And in terms of our togetherness, did we foster that or did we get in the way of it? And perhaps a little bit of a reflection on why. Why was that happening? The other aspect of this us check-in section is to also recognize what the other person is going through, both currently and in the upcoming week. What are you trying to achieve in the upcoming week? What's really important to you? Out of all the billion things to do, are there 2 or 3 items that you feel like are the most important to you so that I can pay attention to that and I can help clear the obstacles for you to try and work towards those things? One of the things we do in the us check-in is also to cover what made us feel loved and hurt by the other individual. Now, this is where the I statements come in, and they're very crucial because the moment you change it to a you statement, it turns into an attack. This is about seeing and hearing each other and how the relationship is serving each other and benefiting each other, and perhaps how it's less than helpful sometimes. And so we're very careful to bring up things that are important to each of us. When I said this and I heard the response of this, I felt this way. Whether that be I felt loved. Thank you for responding in the way. Thank you for seeing me. Or I felt hurt. I didn't feel heard. I felt that I was being given a solution instead of just having some commiseration. These are important conversations, and you'll notice the use of I through all of that, not you. I. It invites the other person to come into the headspace of ourselves and to give us an opportunity for both partners in the relationship to recognize and to see if there's something that we can tweak in how we're responding to the other person or how we should step up for the other person. Very key aspect of the us check-in. We go through our to-dos both in the week ahead and in the upcoming month. This is really important. This is part and parcel to the us check-in, but we also break it out as a bit of a separate section because the us check-in leads very naturally into, I've got to do this in the upcoming week. And by the way, the kids have this. And by the way, you've got a family event here, and there's a social event here, and here. So we try and label all of this and put it down in our planners, both for the week ahead and for the month ahead if we're able to, just so that we build a little bit of awareness around each of our moving parts. We pull up our calendars sometimes and we'll type that into our respective calendars just so that we're reminded about the moving pieces that we're trying to juggle around. And the next section is probably the most stickiest section in any relationship in my experience, the budget, the finances. People have different spending habits, and that is only more cognizant when you get together. And after a period of time, you realize that one person spends more on stationery items than they probably should, and another person is sitting there being very frugal and watching the balance on the books. And so this is an opportunity for us to connect together and remind each other what's important. Are we trying to save our funds for, but also have some pretty honest conversations about the expenditures that are taking place and try and be more proactive about it. Hey, in the upcoming week, I'm doing this because. We foster that open conversation here and not do things in silo and surprise each other. Budgets, finances, always sticky, but really important to talk through. I think you'll relate to the next section that we cover in our agenda. This is the parenting check-in. And we talk about individually our successes as parents, the things that we think we did really well as parents, as well as the failures, the not so great moments. And we try to use this as an opportunity to confess to each other in our less than stellar moments, but to see each other, to hear each other, so that we can recognize that parenting is not easy. And for those of you out there who make it look easy, all the power to you. I love my kids, and so does my wife, and they drive us nuts. If you're a parent, you know. And so it's really important for us to have a conversation about what kind of burdens we are taking on, but also the celebration of our children and how we're trying to help them grow into the amazing people that they will be and that they are. So we talk through all of those things as well. We'll do a check-in on each of the kids. How's the oldest doing? How's the middle one doing? How's the youngest doing? What's going on for each of them? Hey, by the way, you might not know that the oldest is thinking about this and going through this. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. I'll set some time aside so I can check in with them. Routines, structures, and life just flying by, you get to miss out on each other pretty quick. And this is nice to have a partner who's helping you watch out for these blind spots. Hey, by the way, you're so busy at work, you haven't actually had time to spend with the kids. Maybe just book some time playing a board game. Hey, thanks, son. That's a really good reminder. I really appreciate that. These are some of the things that are so crucial and key in these discussions around the parenting check-in. And then, of course, when we're talking about our less than stellar moments, hun, I see you. That must have been hard. Yeah, of course, it wasn't a very great response, but I can only imagine what you were going through. This isn't about judgment. This is not about picking on each other saying, yeah, you should have done better. That could have gone a lot better. No, the whole point is to make sure that we're holding each other in grace and seeing each other in the light that we actually are. When one of us is at work or working through things in our own silos, it's really important to have this space to share with each other what we're going through. The last section in our agenda here is the social calendar. We've already covered to-dos, and sometimes we'll overlap a little bit with specifics on we've got that family event or that engagement that we've got to go to. But the social calendar is our last opportunity to make sure that we've got everything covered for ourselves individually, for ourselves together, for our family, for our obligations, for events, and it's an opportunity for us to watch out about our calendars getting so full that we don't build in time for each other. It's kind of a way of looking at it from the perspective of these are what things that are going to get in the way of us finding moments to connect throughout the week. So it's a great opportunity for us to actually build in some time to have a date night, to spend an evening together, to find some babysitting perhaps, things like that. Now, when we get to the end of the agenda here, as I said, it's really important to end with affection, to end with kindness. And sometimes these meetings can cover some sticky stuff like the feeling loved and hurt section in the us check-in, or we're so busy with all the to-dos that we're feeling a little bit frazzled coming into the end of the meeting. So one of the most powerful things that we've learned to do is to ask a question. If you were to die suddenly, I wish I would have said blank. This is really important because it brings the uncertainty of life right up front and center, especially if this was a bit of a tense conversation, because none of it really matters at the end of the day. It's about the connection, the partnership, the togetherness, and going through the exercise of losing someone so rapidly, it forces us to think about something that we wish we would have said to the other person. And this is so beautiful, so powerful, because every time we bring up that question, it's amazing the responses that we bring up for each other. And we do it in the moment. We don't try and think about it. We force it to be a very impromptu thing, because that's where the honesty comes in. That's where the truth comes out about all the other stuff that's not so important. This is what matters. I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have said, I love you more. We usually go through the entire meeting in 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes. It depends. We try to limit it as much as possible, but it's really about the frequency of connecting. And as I said, sometimes we go weeks without it, but the intention is to do this on a weekly basis. And when we're doing it in a very structured format in terms of meeting on a weekly basis, and we do that for a couple months, we feel so great. And when we don't, we feel very quickly missing out on that connection. And it's a great reminder for us to reinvigorate these marriage meetings. We sit down for 30, 45 minutes with snacks, tea, books, pens, paper, sometimes in our sweats, sometimes in our best clothes, sometimes in the mountains, sometimes in the dining room. It doesn't matter where. The most important thing is that we are there together. Now, one of the questions you might be asking is about the pens and paper. Sure, we could do this digitally. We could do it in Google Docs. We could bring up our laptops, have our phones out. And sometimes we do have our laptops and our phones out just for looking up things or reminding ourselves, oh yeah, this thing is here. But we choose analog intentionally because having pen and paper allows us to slow down, allows us to really listen to each other, to write things down in the moment and allow our mind, body, brain, body connection to take place. And we write the stuff that's important. We're not staring at our screens, we're looking at each other. We like to think of it as when you're holding this pen, we're holding the space for each other. Practice of a marriage meeting has changed how we relate to each other. It's brought in that connection that we started out with when we got married, when we connected. And we lost along the way of the busyness of life, but it's brought it all back. And it's really important because we find ourselves talking more. We find ourselves throughout the course of the week not jotting those mental things down about the appreciations or about, oh, I want to make sure I tell them this, or, oh, that didn't feel great. I want to make sure that I bring that up so that we can work on it together, that we can build a true partnership. Whatever your relationship is, whether you're married or not, I find this practice so powerful in any relationship status because it really brings in that invitation to connect. We feel more seen, we feel more heard for each other, feel less reactive, we feel more like a team. If you'd like to try your own marriage meeting, I've put our template of our meeting agenda in the description below. Feel free to check it out, tweak it however you need to, however you want to, make it work for you and your relationship, the things that matter to you. Let me know in the comment section below if you have something like this, if you have a ritual for connection, or if you do a marriage meeting. I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to hear about how you do your partnership meeting. Let me know in the description below. If you like this video, please consider clicking on the like, subscribe buttons below, as well as maybe buy me a coffee in the description below. Thanks very much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and bye for now.